All right, boys and girls. So I dropped my my JBL speaker again the other day, and it's one of these little bad boys. It's a Flip 4. So I actually did this once before, and was pretty successful with it. And this has the same exact symptoms. Basically, when I dropped it, it stopped working altogether. And you see when I push the button, nothing happens, man. But I did this a couple of weeks ago, so I figured I'd do it again. And this time I'm going to make it permanent by actually siliconing the parts in place so that the next time I drop it, it doesn't jerk around and fall apart again like what I suspect is going on here. So all you really need to do is grab your cell phone tools and start at this side. Reach in there and just pretty much snap and unsnap, or I should say unsnap the, you can hear it starting. There you go. There you go. See, now it pops free. Once it does that one, sometimes it just pretty much, it's supposed to actually pop it the same way on the other side, but I'm not bothering with that. You just kind of jerk it around and it opens up. There you go. All right. All right, so once you have this off, the next step is going to be to remove the rubber part around the whole thing. And it really just pulls off on each end. And it comes off really simple, like that. So this one has been taken apart already once before. So what happened when I took it apart this time is these screws came out, and those screws basically are here, 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 and here. Those screws, unfortunately for me, the threading is no longer there anymore. So they just kind of push in and push out. They're not really necessary at this point, but because once you get this put back on, it holds the whole thing together. But there are clips to get the ends off, right? When I originally looked it up online, it said there were 4 screws. You may have 4 screws on yours, which would be a whole lot easier than what I had to go through. And basically what I did is I look at it really closely, and you can kind of see where there are some clips. And if you unclip their clips, the end pretty much, let me make sure I'm getting the right side. Yep, I am. Make sure it just kind of pops out. Easier said than done, huh? There you go. See, look at that. It just pops out. So the problem I had the last time was this connector got pushed out, and you can kind of see it's at an angle, right? I'll show you here real quick, because you have to get to it from above the speaker. Oops, that's not the right size. So you take the speaker out, kind of let it dangle off to the side. All right, so there you go. If you want a storage space for your screws, use the other speaker. No, I'm kidding. You don't want to hurt your other speaker. But when it comes out, you'll see what happened here is that it just needs to be put back. Pretty simple, right? Now what I'm going to do, while I've got it here, is I'm going to unplug the battery. Come on, baby. I know you unplugged. We've done this before. There you go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is push the circuit board down and make sure that I have good clearance. Actually, I'm not going to push the circuit board. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to push it down. My mistake. So now you can see how it actually sets in there without making it askew. Now it's straight, right? So the next step I'm going to do before I put it back together, this is where I made the mistake the last time. I just put the darn thing together, snapped it up, put it back together, works just fine. But then the next time I dropped it, bang, it moves it moved that board again and twisted the connector. So I'm gonna glue the darn thing in place just to be sure. So now I know I've got the good clearance and everything. I'm gonna go get some glue. So I'm just gonna take some regular everyday silicone, just the clear stuff, makes no difference what color it is, right? And just put a little dab in each corner. And obviously, you're going to want to let this set and everything before you. There you go. Look at that. Nice little bead down underneath. Make it nice and flat so you don't have anything coming out. Now the downside to this whole thing is you're gonna have to let this thing sit overnight before putting it all back together again. So I'm just gonna make sure all the silicone is out of the way so that when you go to put it back together, nothing else is gonna hit it and move it around. Let's see, now I've got it. So you can see I've got a little bit of silicone on the corner and in this corner down below. That should hold it in place. If you can tell, the speaker is no longer going to hit when I get it screwed in. Matter of fact, I'm going to screw it in before we stop this video for the evening, just to make sure it's in the right place. So there are little holes that the speaker gasket goes into, or I should say that line this thing up. The little nubs that stick out that line up your speaker. Put the 4 screws back in. Haha. There you go, it's all nice and tight. My board is in the right place. In fact, I think I'll pull it up just a little bit just because we can. Got some time. just a little bit. Make sure it's, so you can make sure it's not touching the back of the speaker. There you go. You certainly don't want to short it out. And the other reason that we're going to let the silicone set in place before we put the battery in is we don't want to short anything out that we have wet silicone on, right? Because wet silicone does in fact conduct electricity. Dry silicone does not, but the wet silicone does. So that's it for now. I will start this video again tomorrow when I put the whole thing back together again. All right, boys and girls, so it's looks like it's been 24 hours. Time to plug this thing in and make sure it all works. So the glue is dry. You can kind of see down in here that we have dry glue. So we're now going to plug that back in. Obviously, the little thing's got some ridges in there that fit in the slots in the connector. So basically plug that baby in and take the old woofer, I guess is what you would call it, and line it back up. Mine, without the 4 holes, has the 2 screw holes, so you want to make sure you get the 2 sets of holes lined up and snap it into place. Just about like that. Back exactly where it was. I'm not sure I need to put the screws back in, but what the heck, right? I mean, they were there before. They don't really do much of anything. They're more like pins and screws because they just push through, you know. But it probably helps hold it in place while you put it all together anyway. And hey, how about that? We lost one. Oh well. Not that important, right? They weren't doing anything anyway. So the next step is to go ahead and put this thing back on. Make sure that, you know, you got the holes set up right. So just put it back in here. Snap it in. You can see it actually pushed the screws back out. So maybe what we want to do is screw it back in. What the heck, right? That draws that one in a little bit. That one draws that one in a little bit. And maybe I didn't strip the screw after all. It's screwed into the caps. How about that? There you go. Now we have everything put back in. Use one of these little babies again to get this thing out the first time, because when you put it on, the rubber is obviously, you know, pushed in from the wrong direction at that point. So now it just opens and closes by hand. And if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna go boom. How about that, huh? There we go. Turn that baby off, and we'll put the cover back on, making sure that the 4 controls are on the control side. And we're gonna do this, the other side first, because this is the side with the catches, the main catches. And that's the side. And there you go, look at that. Just like you knew what we were doing, right? Voila. Simple thing. Ta-da! Now I don't have to buy a new one.